Hi everybody. This video is about how to find the patterns and how to use the patterns on the periodic chart to help make doing your chemical equations and formulas more easy for you. The specific pattern that we're going to be talking about is the pattern that helps you find the charge on the ion. So if you're working on your worksheet and it asks you find the charge on these ions, this is the video that you need. So all of the information that you need is on your information or your notes here that I wrote out for you, and you can read through that if you'd like. That will certainly help you. I'm going to go through it a little bit faster than that. And we've already covered this in those first 3 videos about how to do sodium and how to do magnesium and how to do oxygen Bohr models to show the ion and to show the valence electrons in those particular ions. But I want to go over how to use that pattern on the chart, just like I said. So reading this will give you an extra support. So you're probably going to want to do that. So as I said before, periods and groups are numbered. And so we've got 1 through 7 here as the periods. And then you've got all of the groups numbered horizontally across the, vertically across the top. So number 1, 2, 3 through 12, and then 13 through 18 over here on this side. And those are those vertical groups. We're going to use those group numbers and refer to them when we're talking about the pattern. So we learned that group 1, if you're finding valence, everything in group 1 has 1 valence electron. And so it would have to lose that electron for it to form an ion. And so that means if it lost 1 electron, it would have a 1 plus charge. So everything in group 1 has a 1 plus charge. That's where the pattern starts. Same thing with group 2. Every element in group 2 has 2 valence electrons. And so they would have to lose 2 electrons to have a full outer shell. And if they lost 2 electrons, they would have a 2 positive charge. And just like before, when the valence electron varies for the transitional metals, it also varies for the charge. So if you're figuring out the charge on any of these elements that are in this lowered section here that kind of drops down in the middle, the charges on those elements vary when they form ions. When we go over to group 13, it's got 3 valence electrons. If it loses those 3 valence electrons, it'll have a 3 plus charge. So again, everything in that group, all the way to the bottom, has a 3 plus charge. Carbon has 4 valence electrons, and it can either gain or lose. So it could have a 4 plus or a 4 minus charge. It's most commonly plus, but don't worry about that. And then nitrogen has 5 valence electrons, with it being in group 5, so it's 3 negative. It has to gain 3 more electrons to get its ion form. And so gaining 3 electrons is gaining 3 negative charges. Oxygen in group 16 has 6 valence electrons, so it needs 2 more. If it gains 2 more, it'll have more negative charge, 2 more negative charges than it had before. And lastly, this group 17 here has 7 valence electrons, because 17 minus 10 is 7, and that was the pattern we talked about before. It only needs 1 more to get to 8, so 1 more electron would be 1 more negative charge, and that's where this whole group here, everything in group 17, has a 1 negative charge. And lastly, for the noble gases, they have full valence shells. They have an octet, or with helium, it's full with 2, and so it doesn't have any charge. And remember, all of these elements are reactive because they're trying to be stable. They're trying to get that 8 valence electrons, just like the noble gases. I hope that helps. Use those patterns on your periodic chart to answer the questions for finding charge on an element or an ion.